Howdy y'all, I am Ice Cold, and it's time I went on another rant about the devs not fixing something, especially because they refuse to fix it. Those of y'all, some of y'all might think, oh, is this going to be about the Bazaar? It's like, I hope they fix that. And unfortunately not, but let me tell you one thing right now. Artie never did get back to me about that interview that I said I wanted to get with him, so I think it might be reasonably safe to assume that no, the Bazaar is not going to be fixed. They're going to fix whatever bug was there where like some specific things weren't showing up, but the cooldown I think is here to stay, and I wish I could have gotten to talk to Artie about that, but I don't think he wanted to talk about that. I think he'd rather just keep to himself and let his decisions stand without hearing anything from the community on it. But for this is about just how bad PvP is again, and I've said numerous times I'm quitting in 2025, and I think I can give y'all a date now. I think I can tell y'all it will be the end of January when I decide I no longer want to do PvP. I'm gonna finish uploading through to the end of this year. I've got one more big project coming in early January, but from there I'm just gonna do like one more run through of all 7 schools, and then that'll be it for PvP on the channel. I can't take it anymore. The game is so awful, and it's really hard to describe just how dismissive the devs have been of the community's concerns, because the community, we just want to be listened to, and we're not being listened to. And there's been so many people who have given pushback about counter matchups and just like all of this counter nonsense in general. And what it's created is, in this meta that we find ourselves in and have found ourselves in since 2021 with a Lemuria update, when Ratshambeard got added to the game, there's just been, it's like some schools are only as good as their main counters are bad, if that makes a lick of sense. What I'm trying to say is, like, there's just, it's like the Ice School, for example. It hasn't been good since early 2023. I thought it would be good now that the update's out, but Ice is still really, really bad, and we're back to this big 3 again, where there's 3 meta schools, and it's like none of the others are really able to stand a chance, and it's matchup 101, and the most matches are decided when both players load into the arena, not because of any specific play. And I think the devs like it that way, and they refuse to fix that. They will not fix that problem despite the community asking them to do that for years on end. Nobody that I know likes Rochambeau, and everybody has really, it's like there's been a lot of pushback, but the devs don't care. And like, if the devs don't care, I'm not gonna play, because like, why should I give them any more of my time and money if they are just not going to listen to what we have to say? And it's like, everybody, like, bro, it's kind of hard to believe that the devs are still doing this in, like, when it's about to be 2025. It's like, dude, I don't know, man. I think if the devs decided to just repeal Rochamwiz entirely, get rid of all of the spell elements, all the ramps, all the everything, and just have it go back to the way it was, I think it would be so much better, because you wouldn't have to worry about so much stuff. Deck building wouldn't be so stupid, and you could actually reasonably play the same way against everybody, and it would be about skill. That's really the main thing. It's like wanting to play the same way and not have to like go all reactive to, like, depending on what somebody does, or like what pips people are getting. Because right now when I'm playing Ice PvP, all of it is about what school am I going against? Am I going against a fire or a myth? Oh, well, I guess if I am, I can't shield or I will get folded. It's basically like passing a turn and feeding them damage. And then if I'm against a school like, you know, Storm, for example, it's like, oh, you know, it's a Storm. I technically should win this per what the wheel said, but I don't, because the matchup has flipped. It's likely Storm now. I said it was like Ice was favored by a little bit in the tier list on Thursday, but Storm beats Ice, and that is a hill that I will die on. Storm beats Ice in PvP right now. It is the second of two reverse counter matchups, where it's like the school that should be getting countered is the one countering and winning the matchup. And that's just where we're at. That's just where we're at. And the devs don't care about that. The devs, like, they'll see Storm Wizards reliably beating Ices, and they'll be like, bro, come on. it's like... But, I mean, the reason why Storm is beating Ice right now, and the reason why Storm has a significant leg up against Ice, is because they don't have to play into what an Ice can counter. And then if that is what they decide to do, and why shouldn't they, right? Like Ice can counter Blades, although sometimes they play He Don't Got It and just like send a random catch of the day, and just hoping that the Ice doesn't have Wyvern or whatever. But I mean, they'll just do whatever and treat it like it's nothing. And I mean, it's like berry spam is a thing. It's like I can only Triton so many times, and it's like they'll set shield spam too. It's like just all of these things that Storms do that counter Ice. It's like that's why the matchup has flipped so aggressively. And like, people have told me, you know, just sit under brace and you'll win. If they go for like a negative aura on you, then you can just take a shoe and 2-tap them. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, that absolutely sounds plausible. That is exactly what I should do. But if I'm not pulling my braces, then what? it's like, if they negative aura, then of course I can shoe and get a big leg up. But I mean, I've seen Storms immolate and trap counter because they're just aggressively set for a matchup that they're favored in by a likely margin. But then there's also, you know, like, I can't even think. It's like Shrike is a thing, you know? So it's like, what inevitably happens is Storms understand that Ice has been given a lot of tools to counter them. So what they do is they basically just play around what Ice can't counter, which is, you know, set shields, you know, things like healing, which Ice, you know, can Triton a berry and get something done, but ultimately it's like if they're set shielding, they're using glacial shields, which means you don't do damage anyway. And yeah, it's like the counters don't work basically to heals, at least in that scenario if they're spamming sets. But it's like you've also got, and I mean, even if you do Triton, like that's still like berry is 4 pips, Triton is 6, you know, do the math on that. So have fun with that. And then it's like it becomes a punch out pretty much, and because like Storm counters shields because they all run fire, and they'll run a 2-pip spell that counters up to 4 shields, and just like you can't do anything. It's like people tell me, you know, just Golem, and because like Golem is really good against Storm, and Golem is really good against Storm. They're not wrong about that. Golem is very, very good against Storm, but they just elf for 2 pips, and you're kind of back to square one. You dump more pips on, you know, shielding than it took them to really, to counter. And then, yeah, it's like then they're like, oh, well, you know, good point. What about Ice Elemental? And I'm over here like, okay, I'll Ice Elemental and then watch it get empowered off and get turned into pips. And there's that. And then they're like, oh, you know, well, just sit under brace. That's your ticket to victory. Just sit under brace. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let me just pull one of the 6 defensive auras that I pack. That should be very easy. And it is not easy. It is very, very difficult to pull those. Because, you know, you get a bunch in your starting hand. You know, you'll go 15-20 rounds without seeing one, that type of deal. It's like sitting under a brace or a stabilize is your ticket to victory in that match, but it just doesn't matter because it's like Storm just plays around that, and it's like if you don't pull it, then you're probably going to lose, and that's just how that goes. So it's like shielding against a Storm. It's like the main reason why people think that Ice is good against Storm is because Ice can mitigate damage well. But Ice can't mitigate damage well. It's like I was talking about earlier. Ice is only as good as shield counters are bad. And right now there's a 2-pip shield counter that pretty much eradicates all of what we do. And yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to it than that. It's like just the counters are too good again, and that's where we're at. And yeah, I mean, everybody and their dog weaves fire, and then fire and myth obviously just, you know, shred you anyway. So, you know, it's kind of hopeless. And there's other matchups where this happens too. It's like, you know, it's all about deck failing, really. Like, deck failing is, it's like I have never played a game where RNG determines this much. And it's like if I'm playing a match and I know exactly what I have to do, I know what the best move is at all times, but I just don't have the card in my hand, then I'm gonna lose. And that's stupid. It's like, who in their right mind would play a game like that? And this is why I'm quitting. Yeah, I can't take it anymore. It's like I can't. It's like if I watch somebody play terribly, but I'm deck failing and I am just, you know, not pulling what I need, then I lose. And you know, it's like, what's the point? What is the point if you can try to play optimally, but then the game just says, no, you're not going to play optimally today. It's like, that's a real issue. The devs refuse to fix that too. It's just all of this counter nonsense. The devs don't want to fix it. They don't want to address it. They don't want to accept that no one likes it. And it's annoying that the devs just don't care. And I feel so ignored by them. And I feel like as a community, we are so ignored by them. It's like there have been people who have tried to bring up concerns in a nice manner, you know, pandering to them, trying their absolute best to be heard, but they're set in their ways, and it doesn't make sense. And I don't know. I don't think there's any hope for the game anymore. I think that PvP is dying, and the developers have killed it by, you know, raising the barrier to entry all the way up to heaven, and it's like making the game itself so unappealing. It's like if you do decide you might want to play, then it's like, yeah, you have to take a look at it, and you'll be like, oh, you know, well, this is a big time investment. I have to either spend $100 or I have to raid with, you know, 11 other people in a guild to get all my pieces, and probably still pay like $50 for some of the pieces of gear. And it's just so awful. Like, I don't really know how else to really describe it. The game is in an abysmal state right now, and I don't want to say it's never been this bad before, because it has. But, I mean, it is very unfun to play. and it's very unrewarding to play. There is no reason to be doing PvP, and I only have stuck around because it's content. And I wish that I could just, you know, drop everything right now and never upload again, but, you know, I've got to entertain y'all, so I'm sticking around, at least for now. But yeah, I mean, I can't do PvP anymore. I'm gonna slog through the next month or so, and then probably just call it there. I think, yeah, I mean, it's so unenjoyable, and yeah, I don't really know how to really say it anymore. I've been talking for about 16-ish minutes, and yeah, there's no hope. And I think, like, I have given the devs so many chances to, you know, revert the game back to when it was good, and they just haven't, and they refuse to, and they laugh and spit in the face of anybody who does want the game to be good. So that, I think, is going to wrap up. The game is horrific. Never try to get into PvP. If you're thinking about it, don't. And that's, I think, where I'm going to end this off. So thank y'all for watching. I've been Ice Gold. I'm going to try to get through this next month as best as I can. But yeah, I mean, it would take a miracle to get me to stay. And yeah, I mean, wow. It's gotten really bad, and the devs don't care. They refuse to fix this problem. So with that being said, thank y'all for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave like 50 comments for the algorithm. My Discord is down in the description if you want to chat with me some more, and I will see y'all later.